One day you wake up in the middle of a wild forest. No phone, no house, no supermarket, no lighter, no medicine. And all around you, there is darkness, the sound of the wind, insects calling in the night, and strange noises from animals you cannot even recognize. Just one cold night, one small wound, or one wrong turn could put your life in danger. And yet, tens of thousands of years ago, our ancestors lived in a world like that every single day. They had no modern technology. They had no scientific knowledge like we do today. But they survived. More than that, they grew, learned, adapted, and slowly became the human beings we are now. So how did prehistoric humans survive? The answer begins with something very basic: food. Prehistoric humans could not simply walk into a store and buy something to eat. Every meal was a search. They had to travel through forests, across grasslands, and along rivers and streams to find wild fruits, roots, seeds, bird eggs, honey, or small animals they could catch. But nature was not always generous. There were seasons when trees were full of fruit, but there were also seasons when there was almost nothing to eat. Some days, they were lucky and found plenty of food. Other days, the whole group had to go hungry. So prehistoric humans had to learn how to observe. They looked at footprints in the soil to know what kind of animal had passed by. They noticed broken branches to guess whether a large animal was nearby. They remembered which season certain fruits became ripe, where to find water, which plants were safe to eat, and which ones could be poisonous. One small mistake could cost them their lives. But over many generations, they learned from nature, from experience, and even from failure. When gathering food was no longer enough, they began to hunt. At first, humans were not the strongest creatures. They could not run as fast as wild animals. They had no sharp claws. They had no large fangs. If a human fought a dangerous animal with bare hands, the human would almost have no chance. But humans had something very special: intelligence. They learned to use sharp stones to cut meat. They used pointed branches as spears. They shaped stones into axes, knives, and sharp tips. Those first tools looked simple and rough, but for prehistoric humans, they were a huge step forward. A sharp stone could help them cut the meat from an animal they had hunted. A spear allowed them to attack from a distance. A stone axe could be used to chop wood, break bones, or defend themselves. Thanks to tools, humans no longer had to depend only on the strength of their bodies. They began using their minds to make up for their weaknesses. But hunting was still extremely dangerous. A wounded animal could turn back and attack. A failed hunt could leave the whole group hungry for days. That is why they did not hunt alone. They hunted together. One person followed the tracks of the prey. Another drove the animal toward a certain direction. Someone else waited in a good position to strike. They learned to cooperate, to signal to one another, and to trust each other. That cooperation helped humans face animals much larger and stronger than themselves. Then came a discovery that completely changed prehistoric life: fire. Before humans knew how to use fire, the night was terrifying. When the sun went down, the cold arrived. Predators began to hunt. Humans had to hide in caves or shelter under trees, always alert to every sound around them. But when they had fire, everything changed. Fire kept them warm during cold nights. Fire helped scare away dangerous animals. Fire lit up dark caves. And most importantly, fire allowed them to cook food. Cooked food was easier to eat, softer, and safer. Meat roasted over fire was not only better tasting, but also reduced the risk of sickness from raw food. Thanks to fire, humans gained more energy, became stronger, and could live in colder places than before. Now imagine a group of prehistoric humans sitting around a fire at night. Outside the circle of light, there is darkness and the sound of wild animals. But inside that warm glow, they share food, protect their children, rest their bodies, and perhaps tell stories about what happened during the day. Maybe it was around fires like these that humans began to connect with one another more deeply. Because to survive, prehistoric humans could not live alone. One person by themselves would have had very little chance in the wild. If they were injured, no one would help them. If they met a dangerous animal, no one would protect them. If they found food, it would be difficult to carry much back. But when humans lived in groups, their chances of survival became much higher. Inside the group, each person could play a role. The stronger members could go hunting. Others could gather plants, fruits, and roots. Older people could pass down experience. Those who cared for children helped care,